Good morning, students. Welcome to Icon Education. Today we are going to practice Chapter 5 Morphology of Flowering Plants Exemplar Questions. Chapter 5 Morphology of Flowering Plants. Question number 1. Rearrange the following zones as seen in the root in the vertical section and choose the correct option. So, we have to arrange the root. This is the root cap, region of meristematic activity, then region of elongation, then region of maturation, which is having root hairs. Okay. So, this is the vertical section of the root. What you need to do is you need to arrange them in the systematic order. So, let us go with the, you also should know that this tip region is called distal end. The tip region is called distal end, and this region is called as proximal end. Proximal. Distal end and proximal end. Sometime they will give you in the question, arrange the following zone from the distal to proximal end. So, distal to proximal end means you have to follow this sequence. If they ask you, arrange the zone from the proximal to distal end, then you have to follow this sequence. Okay. But they have told you to just arrange the following zone in the vertical section. So, let us see root cap zone. Root cap zone is one. Okay. Above the root cap zone, we are having zone of meristem. Zone of meristem. Then above the zone of meristem, you have zone of elongation. Then above the zone of elongation, root hair zone and zone of maturation, both are same, because zone of maturation will have root hairs. So, if D is given first or A is given first, it will not make difference, because zone of maturation will have root hair zone. So, we will go with this 4 and this as 5. So, C1 is there only in the one option. C1 is there only in the first option, that is option A, root hair zone, then zone of meristem, then zone of elongation, then root hair zone, then zone of maturation. Okay. So, the correct answer is A. Now, students, if you want to arrange from the proximal to distal end, that can also be the vertical section. From the proximal to distal end can be also the vertical section. So, in that case, let us see. In that case, let us see the, okay. Now, let us see the arrangement. As I told you that if you are going from the proximal, then zone of maturation will become 1, zone of maturation. Then zone of maturation will have root hair zone, root hair zone. Then below it is zone of elongation. Then below it is zone of meristem. Then below it is root cap zone. But we are seeing that D first is there in here, D first. Then after D, A should come, but A is not there, E is here. So, we cannot go with this answer. So, the correct answer for the first question, rearrange the following zone as seen in the root in the vertical section and choose the correct option, is option A. Question number 2. In an inflorescence where flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession, the position of the youngest floral bud shall be. So, here in the inflorescence, the flowers are arranged in the acropetal succession. Acropetal succession means the older flowers are there at the base and young flowers are there at the top. Young flowers are there at the top. So the position of the youngest flower is asked. Youngest flower is there at the top. So just now as I told you, the tip region is called distal. The tip region is called the distal end. The distal end will have the youngest flower. So the correct option is option B, that is the distal end of the inflorescence will have the youngest flower. Okay. Next, question number 3. The mature seeds of plants such as gram and pea possess no endosperm because, see, gram and pea both belong to dicot plants. So dicot plant, the endosperm will be used for the developing embryo. Okay, during the seed development, the embryo will be using the endosperm. This is there in option D, that is endosperm get used up by the developing embryo during seed development. Okay, now one more question can be framed from such type that all dicot plants are non-endospermic is a wrong statement. Student, listen. Okay, if they give you statement all dicot plants are non-endospermic means they don't have endosperm in their seed. This statement is wrong because all dicots are not non-endospermic. Like when you talk about castor and coconut, these examples are given in the textbook, they are endospermic. Okay, so majority instead of all, that if the word majority or usually or generally dicot plants are non-endospermic is given, then the statement will be correct. Okay, so this one more question can be framed on. So gram and peas will not have endosperm because the endosperm is getting used up by the developing embryo during seed development. Question number 4. Roots develop from parts of the plant other than the radicle are called. This is also a direct question. If the roots are developed from any part of the plant, like a stem is giving rise to roots or leaves are giving rise to roots, such a type of roots are called as adventitious roots. Roots that develop from any part of the plant other than the radicle are called as adventitious roots. Question number 5. Venation is a term used to describe the pattern of arrangement of. This is again a direct question. On the leaf you have the main vein, that is called midrib, then vein, then veinlets. So this arrangement of vein and veinlets in the lamina of the leaf is called as venation. So the correct answer is vein and veinlets in the lamina. Lamina is nothing but the surface of this leaf. The expanded surface of the leaf is called as lamina. Question number 6. Endosperm, a product of double fertilization in angiosperm, is absent in the seeds of. Students, as given in the textbook, that most of the dicot seeds are non-endospermic. That means they don't have endosperm in their mature seeds. Okay. So endosperm, a product of double fertilization in angiosperm, is absent in the seeds of gram. Gram is a dicot seed which is non-endospermic because the endosperm is completely consumed by the developing embryo before the seed reaches maturity. But if you look at the other option, that is orchids. Orchids also, we know that they are monocot plant. So most of the monocot plant will have endospermic seed. The exception is orchids is given in the textbook. Orchids are non-endospermic. So even the B option is correct. Now why we are going with the A? Because both gram and orchids are generally considered as non-endospermic, means ex-albuminous in their mature seed stage, although they differ in how they reach this stage. In gram, the endosperm is formed during double fertilization, which is completely consumed by the developing embryo before the seed reaches maturity. In orchids, what is happening? In orchid, endosperm formation is completely suppressed. Okay, completely suppressed or fail to develop, making the seed non-endospermic. So even in the B option, if such type of questions come in NEET, then you can write either A or B. Okay, because both answers are correct. Why I am going with the A1? Because the endosperm formed during double fertilization is completely consumed. And in orchids, the endosperm formation is completely suppressed or it fails to develop. So as it is giving endosperm a product of double fertilization in angiosperm is absent in the seed of, so better option is A, gram. Hope you find it easy and understanding. Question number 7. Many pulses of daily use belong to one of the families below. Tick the correct answer. Now we know that the Fabaceae family, it is having most of the pulses are belonging to this family, like chickpea, green gram, pigeon pea, black gram, cowpea, etc. They are rich sources of protein which belong to the family Fabaceae. So many pulses of daily use belong to one of the families below, that is Fabaceae. Question number 8. The placenta is attached to the developing seed near the. So we know that on the seed there is a scar. This scar is known as hilum. This scar represents that this is the region from where the seed is attached with the fruit. So placenta is the attachment to the developing seed near the hilum. Okay. Question number 9. Which of the following plants is used to extract the blue dye? This is a direct question from the family Fabaceae. We know that the dye can be extracted from Indigofera. Blue dye is extracted from Indigofera. Okay. Now question number 10. Match the following and choose the correct option. Students, whenever the match the following questions are given, you have to go with the answer which you are sure of. Like for example, the easy one is parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpic fruits are formed without fertilization. Parthenocarpic fruits are formed without fertilization. So B1 is there in only one of the option, that is option B is having B1. Okay, in this way you can quickly select the answer and save time and eliminate the wrong answer. Now let us see the other also. Aileron layer. Aileron layer is rich in protein. Okay, it is seen in the endospermic seeds. Okay, that is in the monocot. The endosperm is surrounded by a aileron layer which is rich in protein. So aileron layer, nutrition. Then C option, ovule. Ovule after fertilization develops into seed. Ovule after fertilization develops into seed. Then D, endosperm. Endosperm is formed after double fertilization. This is seen in case of angiosperms. Students, in angiosperm, endosperm is a product of double fertilization, but not in gymnosperm. Remember, in gymnosperm, endosperm is formed before fertilization. That is, endosperm is haploid and double fertilization is not seen in gymnosperm. That is why in gymnosperm, the endosperm is haploid, which is developed from the female gametophyte, which give nourishment to the developing embryo. So in gymnosperm, the endosperm is haploid. Gymnosperms are not showing double fertilization. Double fertilization is a unique phenomena seen only in the angiosperm. Okay, so whenever the match the following question comes, you have to go with the option which you are sure of, and it's see whether it is there in only one of the option. Sometime it may be there in two option. At that time you can go with the second answer. Okay, so with this we have finished the practice exemplar questions of chapter 5, morphology of flowering plant. Hope you find it easy